Good morning, Drakars. Welcome to the DragonShip. Let's go.
All of our kids by the iron fist, we are tainted by the storm.
Ready to upgrade your dating game? Introducing Paul's ultimate online dating course for men. Master the art of online dating and discover Paul's genius method to meet amazing women off the apps. The real secret sauce? Discover how to leverage Facebook and Instagram to meet amazing women in your local area. Not all hot women are on dating apps, but every woman on the planet is on social media. Learn how to find and connect with them with this revolutionary course. Say goodbye to swipe fatigue and hello to meaningful connections. Ready to transform your dating life? Click the link in the description now and start your journey to success today.
I've got the power of Thor in my hands. Thunderous hammer that will sting across all the land. The power of Thor in my hands. Lightning strikes as a storm through the valleys of death.
Good morning, Drakars. How are you today?
Skull, you savage.
Hello, how are we doing today?
A little bit out of order today. Sorry about that, Thor. Supposed to
No,
be
it's
yours
quite all right,
first.
man. Nah, it was great, man. The music was fantastic, very poignant and to the point. And gentlemen, I got my ticket. Look.
Oh, there it is. Oh, very nice.
Live again.
As Thor, as soon as you said you got your ticket, there's a there's a lightning strike right outside of my door. So
That's awesome, man.
yeah,
Love
just
that.
now. Just like that. Storming here in Dallas. So
Well, hopefully the power doesn't go out there, brother.
This stuff.
no. The power never goes out. We have hardworking men that make sure that infrastructure is safe.
Yeah.
Because men aren't that important, right? We just keep everything.
And they keep those nuclear plants going so they feed those lines.
Yeah, and those wind wheels and all the backup battery stuff. We're depending on AJ right now. More AJ's more than anything right now. The servers.
Keep
I tested 4 generator starter batteries this morning. I'm going to do 4 more this afternoon.
Yeah,
So
I think we should all think of generator tech right now.
So should we call you the senior cloud master or something like that? That's
The
your
cloud
job.
wizard.
Cloud
Wizard. There you go.
But the network stuff, I'll plug in the router as soon as I get to that stuff as I do.
Yeah.
You want 208? Here you go. You want 120? Here you go.
Oh, 480.
No, you're the
480 is a dangerous freaking voltage, dudes.
Yeah, that's the carrier
That's
voltage.
12. Oh, it's horrible.
no, you're not a cloud wizard. You're Heimdall.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
I'm dull.
You are the Bifrost.
Master of the Bifrost.
Yes.
Take you to anywhere in the universe via the internet.
Glenn, what's up? You're muted.
Glenn,
Glenn, you're muted.
reporter in the field, back from
Hold
his.
We have the power to unmute him, right? I can unmute him.
Yeah. See, I'm just, doing my daily thing, being your favorite influencers handler. Just
Jesus. Yeah.
just
Stirring to see what the aroma is, huh?
yeah, just taking names and making cash and checks.
Good job, Master at Arms.
AJ,
Taking no prisoners.
you're in a different location today. Are you on call? Are you on site?
I am on site, and due to the nature of my work, I'm not going to tell you where I'm at. For the audience, those who do know where I work at know that I'm there right now.
All right, so we're not going to tell everybody that you're at the Spearmint Rhino.
Yeah, I'm spinning right now. I got to get ready to go on stage.
Yeah, don't go so far. Don't
Tell Delilah I said, hey.
Glenn, don't we like Blue Oyster Bar?
Of course.
Bar there, Thor.
He's at the Bunny Ranch.
As long as it doesn't smell like a Blue Oyster Bar.
That's a reference to back in what? Was that the 80s? 70s?
It was like early 80s, wasn't it?
You guys probably don't know, but we were doing the Trident. We were in our cuts, and we had a couple guys in the chat, a couple of the Black Pill guys. Look, it's the Blue Oyster Bar crew. Is that what it was called? Blue Oyster Bar, right?
I think so.
There was a strip club in Montreal on St. Catherine Street, which is like the strip of strip clubs, called the Blue Oyster. Me and my friends, underage drinking, made the mistake of walking in there. It was a gay strip club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's what they're referring.
Yep.
Manosphere
Yep.
sounds like a gay strip club too.
It does, doesn't it? It's like, it's like really homoerotic. Damn it, feminists. Why do you have to name it that way?
A sphere of
I
men.
think we might have named it ourselves in error.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past us.
Yeah, embrace it. Embrace the suck, right?
Exactly.
Exactly.
That's
Thor.
military for you. Brace the suck.
And you're
Eat
at
shit
home
sandwich.
base, correct, today?
Hmm?
You're at home base today, correct?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Today's a great day, man. Living the dream.
So AJ's the only one out on a raid today.
Yeah,
He's-
he's reconning for us.
all right.
I just came back from pillaging Nashville, just so you know, like pillaged Nashville, took some names,
I'll take those 2 slave girls you showed me earlier. I could use.
Yeah.
my-
You want them? You want them both?
Yeah, bring
With
them
them
more.
big booty corn-fed hose.
Yeah, those ones.
No.
you-
Once
you
They
catch
were nice.
Church, real nice, long dress.
Yeah.
My
They had the sunflower dresses and like the sunflower hat and everything on.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Dude, when you
that
trip to Nashville,
sunflower dress is like over there. Like that sunflower dress is like is a whole new thing over there. It's like that's the real game.
That's some hypnosis right there.
Yeah, because the booty cheeks, you can see both booty cheeks moving.
Yeah,
It's art. It's
yeah,
like,
and
this is
then
what
like
God
it
wanted
sways.
for us. Yeah,
It
this is what God
sways like
wanted
left
for us.
and right.
And when you get the backlighting just right, Nuke, and you kind of have the,
Yeah, and then
You'd be like,
over
wait a minute.
time, yeah, over time, if the cheeks are big enough, the dress starts slowly converging, and she has to pull it out all the time. AJ knows what I'm talking about. Look at AJ smiling. You know.
She has to do the little.
AJ's like,
hug.
I require the uniform is sunflower dress.
X had a very good ass, and that's what got me.
The best part is when they pretend they don't know that they're being backlit by the sun.
The ass is like the ass that she had.
Yeah, and you don't need to go to monk mode for 18 months to experience this, guys. You can get
No,
your own maiden.
Which segues today. Thank you, Nuke. Into our topic, power from frame monk mode. Now, is this a monk mode episode? Kind of.
Yeah.
But more importantly, guys, this is episode 1 in the Power from Frame series. So the Power from Frame series is going to be a kind of an umbrella talking point that all of us can use to talk about how the strength of one's frame affects different things in their lives. And so I'm leading it today with Power from Frame monk mode because I came to a realization last week, and that is the results of monk mode are only as good as your frame is strong. What do you guys think about that concept?
I think it's correct. I think where I have issues with monk mode is in how we've defined it across our space. And we kind of opened the door. But I think you're correct. I think you're onto something there. As far as it's also only as good as the effort you put in. And but I think, you know, if you looked at what monk, the definition of monk actually is in the dictionary, it's kind of misleading because I don't think guys really want this, you know. Could be wrong, but the actual definition of monk is a member of a religious community of men, typically living under vows of poverty, chastity, celibacy, and obedience. So, would a guy that say is men going their own way, that swears off women, be this? I can see how he might grab that and say, I'm going monk mode. But I think the problem comes into play is when we defined it in our group, and we defined it a little bit differently as monk mode. If you search for it, it is considered to be defined as monk mode, inspired by the disciplined lifestyle of monks, referring to the intense periods of uninterrupted focus to optimize productivity. So I think that's where, you know, we kind of get confused. And at least my thoughts on monk mode, if you're asking me, is the intent is great. I think that we fail in the execution by telling guys to go monk mode, and it becomes an ego protection to actually hide socially. And I've seen it in my own consultation practice where I've been in monk mode for 18 months. And, you know, I just tell people, you know, that's what I'm in. I don't get any questions. It's a great place to hide. I'm working on things, and I can just leave it at that. I've seen more of that than, hey, I spent the last 3 months in monk mode. Now I'm out of it and things are great. So I kind of have a struggle because I think the principles of focusing on yourself that comes out of when we describe monk mode, focusing on yourself, I like to call it maybe a strategic redeployment of our internal and external resources. I think that would be a better way to approach it. It could be anywhere from a few hours. I also call it demon mode. And that's when I pull in and I step on the gas and grab both hammers in each hand. And maybe it's only one or two things that I do. It could be a few hours to a few days to a few weeks to a month to get, I really use that to establish new habits. And I'm not sure that going into monk mode establishes new habits other than to be in monk mode. Whereas you're withdrawing from bad habits or things you're doing that's distracting you to get very focused and then maybe create some new habits that are very good for you. That's my overall take on monk mode and how we kind of do it wrong a lot of times and kind of give it a cope. Like, hey, the guy's in monk mode, leave him alone. Even though he might have been effing up to the numbers, now he can hide from himself and the mistakes he made in the past by being in monk mode. So I think there's a little bit of that, and it's used by guys to not do the hard work. Hey, I'm in monk mode, leave me alone, you know. And the reason I say that is even when I had consultations, guys would avoid taking action by saying, I'm in monk mode. You need to get out there. You need to talk to people, be social. Yeah, but I'm in monk mode now. I don't know if any of you guys that do consults have experienced that. I know Glenn is a certified life coach and has done some of those, but that's kind of my overall take. Hopefully that makes sense, Mike.
Oh, it absolutely does. Because it does have a connotation to it. Now to me, the connotation, see, I do come from a religious background, and while I have no intention of ever becoming a literal monk, the analogy does fit.
Okay.
Now let's not forget, monks, dudes knew how to party. These dudes would sometimes drink their brains out.
It said they invented beer.
Beer and all sorts of other wonderful, wonderful things. Whiskey, I think, is another one, or Scotch is one of the ones they've rumored to have invented. So let's not forget that monks, it's not like monks never have fun,
right? But
it's a bunch of dudes hanging out with other dudes and getting drunk. But Glenn, we'll come to you last because we know what happens when we get you going. So Nuke, what is your opinion of the expression of the quality of the strength of the frame determines the quality outcome of the monk mode?
Well, frame can be defined by how you view the world, right? And anything outside of your frame is either irrelevant or amusing or not important, right? So when you do monk mode, let's just call it what it is. It's a buffer against rejection, right?
Ooh.
And so basically, when you have monk mode, it's a guy that he isn't doing well in life, and he's being rejected by his peers as being respected. He's being rejected by women. He's being rejected by life. Life is getting hard, right? So he says, I'm going to backward rationalize this biological need that I have to retract and go and hide in my cave with, hey, I just want to self-improve, right? Self-improvement is done all the time, right? And personally, I think that monk mode should be used to rest, right? For me, monk mode is like I got finished with a big project, or I got done with something important in my life. I got done, or I'm achieving a lot. I'm starting to get burnt out. Let me take a week off and do nothing. Just work, do the bare minimum, relax, enjoy my sedations for a little bit. And then that to me is monk mode, because when you rest from achieving, you also get new perspective. You get to stand back, look at what you've made, and then you can, change your course if you want to, and just relax, because, we can't be pedal to the metal all the time, right? These success life gurus lie to you, right? Millionaires and billionaires, they make their money by 4 or 5 big decisions a year, and that's it. They don't like every day wake up and do their millionaire routine and all that. No, they wake up at 10 a.m. The CEO of my company, he would show up to work sometimes at 10 or 11 a.m., right? Because all he had to do was make 1 or 2 decisions that day, call, and check in on his higher level employees, and then that's it, right? He takes all the risk. And yeah, so to me, monk mode is just a buffer against rejection. You have a burden of performance. If you can't meet it, you're going to be homeless, right? So you have to meet it. And sometimes you do get burnt out. So instead of worrying about locking yourself away from the world in an effort to heal from that rejection, just keep taking it on the chin, right? And then once you achieve something, then you reward yourself with a monk mode, which is like resting and just being away from people for a couple of days and enjoying video games or whatever you like to enjoy in your free time, and then you move on, right? So yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
I like what you said about that too. That's very interesting. Hey, we got a super chat, guys. You want to go to it?
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Oh,
yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Thor, this is in honor of you. You take it away.
I'm going to give him a sound drop at the end. Yearly, I know this guy. $50, man. That's fantastic. Hey, Thor, glad your health is superhuman. Your book was fire too. Greetings from Moscow. Thank you, sir. And skull to my Rus Viking brothers. Let's give you a Odin. And shout out to the rest of the guys that are streaming here. They all have channels monetized. They're ready to go. Please subscribe to their channel. Give them a like. Watch on their channel. Doesn't matter which channel you watch the DragonShip on. These guys are Drakars. They need your support. This is it really helps them put the content together that you guys can enjoy. And we'll bring you things like the books and other elements that you can use. Really good actionable stuff that you can use in every day. I'm going to shout out a couple people in the chat too. Of course, Yearly, I saw you. There's also some other guys in the chat. Let me see here. Well, I'll pick them up later. My chat froze. So guys, thank you for doing the chat, and thank you for all of the super chats. Back to you, Mike.
Now, Nuke, we're obviously we don't back down from disagreement. Would you like to address this comment in the chat?
Which one?
Ivy Bolt. Would you like to address it?
It's a good comment.
Ivy Bolt. All right, I'll read it. Ivy Bolt. What the F are you talking about, Nuke? Question mark. Question mark. Monk mode is not about shielding against rejection. It's about shifting your focus in life and devoting your time for your current life purpose. I'll tell you right now, man. The most amount of improvement you will ever do is fully socializing and being immersed in your life. I'm going to say that one more time. The most amount of improvement you'll ever do as a human being, because you are designed to cooperate and to make and to form networks, is by being fully immersed in your life, being so busy with not only work, but your social life, your fitness, your life problems. When you're in your life, you are fully invested in everything as much as you can. You're busy and you're tired, but you got to get up because you have to go to your son's piano recital or whatever, and you have to go to your daughter's ballet, but you got a date with this woman, and then you have work in the morning early, and then you got to stay a little late, and then you're doing content, like all these things coming together, you're going to realize you're going to become such much better human being, right? Than just being by yourself all the time and hanging out on forums and how you can get extra 10 pounds on your deadlift, right? All those things are going to make you better. Focusing on one thing at a time, while yes, life will force you. The thing is, like, why do it voluntarily when life will force you anyway? You will get injured, meaning you will be forced into monk mode, right? You'll get hurt. You'll have a surgery where you can't do anything, right? You'll have a heartbreak where you'll be down for 2 months. You can't even, you'll be emotionally distraught. You'll have family deaths, right? You'll have a lot of things in your life that will take you away from your main focus and goals. Those are your monk modes, because life is going to give you your monk mode, and it's not going to be when you feel like it, and it's not going to be how you want it. So why make a monk mode when you don't need one? Life is like any day now. I could go to the doctor and like, hey, you need knee surgery because of the military. You're going to be out for a month. There's my monk mode. I can't do anything for a month. That's torture, right? So I'm going to have to accept that. Like, why would I do this to me on purpose, right? When I'm happier when I'm busy. Most men are happy when they're busy, right? Busy doing the things they want. So why would you take that away because someone on the internet said, hey, if you stop doing everything and focus on like lifting or girls, you'll do better at that thing. When I realized, like, hey, I'm when I'm busy, I'm happy. When I'm happy, I achieve. That's basically it. So that's my refutation to that.
Yeah, you know what? I like your answer, and I would like to comment that. Put that one back up.
Okay.
I understand exactly what he's saying. And this article I dropped in the private chat is come out by Ford, and it was under careers and leadership. And they basically skimmed off of some of the concepts and called it how to be highly productive by going into monk mode. I think we're actually talking about two different modes of what's going on here. When we say monk mode in our space, it came out of the growth of MGTOW, men going your own way. Would you agree with that, Nuke? That's really where it became prevalent.
Yeah. It's men that have a trouble with a certain part of their life, and they wanted to double down and focus 100% on that part of their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not for everybody. Multitasking for some people is really difficult.
Yeah.
So some people actually have to do it. And if you actually read this article, it's kind of skimmed off of that stuff. It's skimmed off of, the 7 habits of highly effective people. And I got to hand it to the author. They kind of put it together, and they used the term monk mode from our area, which, it gained popularity in the social media platforms, TikTok and Manosphere. They even acknowledge that. But they kind of frame it in career. Like, you need to go in monk mode. I just don't like the term because people will use it as a cope, and it becomes the prominent method of people using monk mode. But the principles of improving yourself, sometimes you have to go into what I would call demon mode for 48 hours to solve problems. Remember, the number one skill or the agency of a man, primary agency of man, is problem solving. And sometimes you have to isolate yourself to get a different perspective. And then I'm gonna flop on that. You get enough social perspective, like Nuke is saying, and it changes your direction as well, and it can change it for the better. We grow from stress, and what do they call that when it's positive? It's eustress, right?
Mm-hmm.
We grow. It's just like a muscle. So I think you guys both have valid points, and Nuke is right on that. A lot of guys use it as a shield for rejection. Sometimes you need to back up and block some rejection so you can catch your breath, jump back in the arena.
Yeah.
I'll go that far.
Monk mode is rest. It should be like a rest period. Like, hey, I am burnt out. I did my best. I need a week off, and then regroup and then go back. Monk mode shouldn't be, this is where I'm going to stay until I see results,
Yeah,
and I think monk mode is a time of reflection too, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, okay, something didn't work out right here.
Yeah.
Right. Let me reassess. And let me do some inventory.
Yeah.
Let me check my pulse. Let me see, if systems are running correctly before I'm moving forward. It's a time to pause and reflect.
Yeah.
And it's also a time to grieve. I mean, every soldier will grieve at times when you lose a good friend at battle, or you lose something of value to you. you're going to grieve, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, or a reality that or a dream that you thought was a reality. It takes time to get behind the shield, retreat to the fortress, regroup, reanalyze yourself, and then get yourself back out there.
Right.
It's a time to get bandage up those wounds. It's a time to heal from those injuries and then get right back out there. It's not a time to oh, I'm just gonna stay here until
my life
I'm
improves.
ready. Yeah, like your life won't improve without trial and error.
Yeah.
You could do all the practices you want. You could do all the mock-ups and all the the drills you can, but until you put that in a real world scenario, you don't know what you're gonna do. We all think we do, but we don't know until it actually hits us and we're in that scenario. And what you think you may got everything under control, you may not. So it's a time to reflect and regroup and get back out there.
I do like that part of monk mode where you're focused on, you kind of eliminate multitasking for a period to get a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be useful, particularly the guys that take on way too much. And then you're right. And they get depressed because they're having lots of rejection and all that. I totally get what Nuke is saying. It's like, man, there's nothing more disappointing when you're really struggling than you're just getting pounded at work. They're rejecting you there. They're rejecting you here. Sometimes you do need to withdraw from that and keep that shield up. I think that probably makes you feel a lot better, but then guys get stuck there. That's where I think there's a bit of a danger.
It's a comfort zone, basically. You're in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's only a comfort zone if they're treading water. You know what I'm saying? Like if they're still like at status quo, because it's not a comfort zone once you start declining, and once you're not making any progress and you're stagnant and you are losing ground in areas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it you kind of get your back against the wall at some point where you have to act. You have to get back out there. You have to take the risk. And you want to do it on your time, and you want to be able, like, okay, you're ready, you're gonna go, but you don't want to waste your time behind there, and then you feel pressured to go out there.
Yeah. And I noticed that guys that have a brotherhood like we do as Drakars and have these social groups do a whole lot less monk mode time, a lot less, if any at all. They bounce things off of each other, and if what they're thinking is just a way to escape, a lot of their brothers will call them on it and say, okay, but we're going to get here later, show up at the next meeting or whatever, and tell me your progress. It's kind of interesting because the social aspect that Nuke brings up is really, really useful when a guy's down, more than we would think. Why do you think
we're losing men? Why do you think we're losing men? It's because they go into monk mode, and it's just like, no, you're not in monk mode. You're depressed.
Yes.
You need to live your life. You're not in monk mode. You are depressed.
Or
you
grieving.
are.
Right.
Yeah. If you only go to the gym and you do the bare minimum in life and you call that monk mode, no, dude, you are depressed. You need to go socialize. You need to have your hobbies. You need to have a little bit of debauchery once in a while in your life.
Debauchery. What
yeah.
Go on a date with these guys, gentlemen. Go on a
debauchery.
Yeah, you're not too cool for social interaction because you want to self-improve. And remember, I know that all the top gurus are telling you, hey, you have to be better and for these women or else they won't touch you. But realize that they're just selling you a bridge, right? There's plenty of people that are having normal relationships. You don't need to be the top 0.0001%. However, it's always good to strive, right? It's always good to, right? Keep in mind that
land on the stars.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna have a decision in your life where you could be better, or you could be worse. Like, hey, I'm not gonna do this 400 deadlift. Wait, yeah, I am. And then you do it. Now, okay, see, now you've leveled up. Now you're in the club. You're in the 405 deadlift club, right? Or you decide to take on more responsibility at work. Now you're making six figures or whatever your version of it is. But realize that you will never move the needle, which is the most important thing. You will never change your life unless you go outside and you get beat up and your balls are going to get stomped at all your 20s. Like they're going to get stomped. People are going to tell you no. Everyone's going to tell you no. But when you hit 30 everyone's gonna start saying, yes, Nuke, you make a lot of sense, or yes, Nuke, I'll go home with you, or yes, Nuke, let's do business together, right? Because at the end of the day, your 20s is your monk mode, whether you like it or not. It is your monk mode. You're gonna get your
You're
balls
gonna be
stomped.
forced to, yeah.
Yeah, you have no choice. If you're in the military, you're going to be deployed all the time. If you're doing college, you're going to be studying all the time, and girls are kind of going to like you, and they're going to reject you, and then they're going to go for other like it's your monk 20s is your monk mode enough, right? Because once you hit your 30s, it's like you're exiting your life, your 10-year monk.
You're
mode.
getting in the game.
Yeah, you're hitting your stride, and you're just like, oh. Okay, I got a handle on things. Like I know what to do when I'm depressed. I know what to do when I'm sick. I know what to do this. I have all this experience now. And I realize, oh wait, going into my house and not living life isn't monk mode. Getting beat the hell up and getting my balls stomped all the time was monk mode. That was the monk mode. Now it's like, oh, okay, I'm done. And then like
Getting my balls stomped, I thought was like kink. Is that your
well,
kink?
like metaphorical ball stomped.
Okay, I'm just saying, hey, everybody has their kink. And one thing you guys gotta remember is that like when you go monk mode, you need to have an accountability partner there. You need I think that you need to have a friend that you're telling what you're doing, like, hey, if you're gonna go in monk mode, you need to retreat for a minute. You need to tell somebody, hey, I'm retreating a little bit, I need to work on some things. And that person's going to hold you accountable. That person, if he's a good friend, will check on you and be like, hey, how you doing? Are you working on the things? Are you improving? What do you need help with? What how can I help you? All right. And then that way, your friend, your brother is not going to, he's going to hold you accountable. At some point, he's going to be like, hey, man, get off your ass. You've been in monk mode way too long. You need to get out there now.
You got to come out. You got to come out with us. You got to come out. Yeah.
And don't go into monk mode without an accountability buddy. It's just like, when you go overseas, go overseas and when you guys, the sea biscuits here, the little puddle pirates, when you guys left the boat, you got to go out in buddy teams, right? You got to go out in your little buddy groups. You got to go two people. Yeah. Same thing. When you go monk mode, you tell somebody, you let somebody know you're going to monk mode, and you have a buddy.
Liberty buddies. Yeah,
you have a liberty buddy. Just call it a monk mode buddy.
Yeah.
How about this? Let's go back in history.
Yeah, that sounds kind of gay, Glenn.
Let's
well,
let's call it
superhero mode.
Let's call it superhero mode. Did not Superman have a castle he would retreat to?
Yeah,
it's called the Fortress of Solitude. And where he went there was because the library of who he was and what his identity was, he could learn about. He didn't go there to isolate from them. If you look at what was in the comic book, he went there to learn because it was such a vast library, kind of like the Library of Alexandria. We all have at our fingertips right here. We probably spend too much time playing games instead of actually learning about who we are. So I could see it as being something like that, maybe, superhero mode. There you go.
Now, we got to make sure we get AJ in here before he disconnects again because the rain.
I'm good. I'm good now. My Wi-Fi. I'm inside. I was picking up my lunch, and the raindrop canceled me out, and then getting back on Wi-Fi.
But before we move on to some real-world examples that I do want to talk about, and then we move on to ourselves, what do you think of the expression, or do you side with Nuke that monk mode has... our version of it has always been a cope, and Nuke's version of monk mode is a bit more constructive?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's guys who really just don't want to put in the work, and they'll use it as a cope and not go out and socialize or do anything, but sit there and wallow in their own misery. But then there are guys such as myself and Nuke who will use monk mode in our mid-30s as a force to either relax, like Nuke said, or to work on a major project that they got going on and focus their energy into there to make sure that project is taken care of and they're not being sidetracked or blinded by distractions.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, we'll say one more thing about where monk mode is really useful, and it may be useful in later in life, especially if you've invested in a lot of blue pill stuff and your identity is wrapped around it. It's useful to do an identity shift or reinvent your identity to something that's closer to who you are authentically. If you've been living in corporate America, swallowed the blue pills, believed everything, and then unfortunately, you've taken the spiky red pill and you're pretty depressed. I do think a period of introspection, like Glenn said, with a little bit of isolation from all your old blue pill friends and because they're not going to listen to you about red pill stuff. They're going to hate it. They're going to castigate you for it. So they're not ready to take it. For you to do that and shift your identity to something that's closer to who you are, it could be extremely useful. I've written about that. And I think in that case, something like a monk mode would not be a cult, but it would be a goal to achieve relatively quickly, especially if a guy's depressed. Believe me, you don't want to stay depressed long. You want to achieve something, take some action, and get there. Anyway.
And we actually have a response here to you, Nuke.
Oh, perfect.
Ivy Bolt. Okay, thanks for your clarification. Nuke and Thor. Fun fact: I met my last and only girlfriend during a 3-month monk mode. Absolutely wasn't talking about something sexual there, yet she fell for me. Yeah, monk mode. Remember, there's a lot of versions of it online. One of them is Gym Cell. Have you guys heard the term Gym Cell? That's just like, hey, you decided to make your lifting, your sedation, and your excuse not
or
to
your religion.
Yeah, and
it's just a gay guy that was straight.
But don't you know?
When if you become a gym cell, you got all jacked and juicy, and you don't even want no females. Like, what's wrong with you? You must want guys.
You should be hungry. Your testosterone should be spiking. You should be hungry and out there.
But don't you know, releasing semen, you won't get the biggest gains then, right?
Yeah.
Says who? Says who?
Says the gym cells.
No.
Well, let me just tell you, I can outlive.
Yeah, that's another iteration. Yeah, it's another iteration. Like we have like semen retention, which
semen
is
retention. That was a good episode.
Guys, that is a absolute coat.
Yeah. Which is another proxy or another buffer for rejection, right? Is I'm gonna do semen retention. I'm just like, listen, guys, like talking to women is self-improvement, right? Hanging out with your friends is self-improvement. I know it doesn't seem like that, but like when I hang out with my boys, it's like it's how you recharge, right? It's like you feel back, like you're ready to go back into the fight after a couple, hanging out with your friends, right?
Like your buddies equip you, they level you up, like they challenge you. It's like sparring. It's like sparring.
Yep.
Well, haven't you ever hung out with your boys and it's just like, dude, you look so wound up, dude. Relax. Like you look so, and you're just like, wait, yeah, I am out of I'm not myself. And then boom, you're back to yourself. That's
talking and everything.
Yeah.
You're not
remember the last time you said that to me? I slapped you. Don't do that.
Yeah. Hey, but I got up and I was just like, bro, you're not being yourself, Glenn. And then
I know I started crying, I started rocking back and forth. It was all bad.
Rocking back and forth.
But the point is like it's like you're denying yourself the absolute needs you have of your life in the name of like pleasing internet people online to show them that, hey, I'm disciplined. I'm like, look, discipline is not clearing your schedule to do one or two things. Discipline is how do I fit everything I need to do in order to stay healthy, both mentally and physically, and also get the shit I need to do. It needs to get done, right? How do I get all of this done? Yeah. And then you write a hierarchy. What's the most important? Well, to me, my most important thing is health, because without health, I can't do anything, right? So I have to go to the gym, get my sleep. And then next thing is work, because work feeds me, right? So I got to make sure work is taken care of. And then the third thing is like, well, mental health. Like I got to hang out with my friends. I got to talk to a girl. I got a date. I got to, hang out outside and get sunlight and all that stuff. So you make and then once in a while, there's going to be 1 week out of your life where work's like, hey, it's going to get crazy. Focus on work, dude, because and then you may have to take a rest week from the gym because you're staying late and you're tired. That's okay, right? And this managing your needs and going in and out of monk mode, let life do it for you, right? Life's gonna say, hey, it's a tough week, you got to do this, or hey, you're sick, or hey, you're injured, or hey, you're depressed, dude, or hey, like let life do it for you. Don't do it yourself unless you at the other end of it, there's a big reward, right? So like, let's say you're getting ready for a boxing match or a big fight. There's a big reward, so you have to go monk mode, right? But just going monk mode, so at the end, there's this ephemeral goal of where some hot blonde with big tits is going to be like, hey, I noticed your effort. I think I want to have sex with you now. That's not how that works, So, yeah.
No,
Well-
and I think like monk mode is not like a I don't have to do anything moment either. Like it has to be like scheduled, like, and you have to have a schedule during your monk mode. You have to like, okay, while I'm on monk mode, let's say it's 2 weeks or whatever you're doing, I'm focusing on these areas. If you're going through a breakup, I need to focus on getting myself mentally back, also reflecting on what went wrong so I don't make those mistakes in the next one. And two, like, seeing the flaws in areas that I could work on. What did I do wrong here to where I was not, enough, or I need to pick up the slack in these areas. And then again, go to somebody, tell your buddies, hey, I think I need to work on this area. I'm struggling with this area right now because of this. Or, whatever the case is, you have to bounce it off somebody. You don't do it on your own. I can't stress that enough. You just don't go.
You'll get depressed.
Monk mode. Yeah, you'll get like I've been there myself, and it's just like, and Thor knows when I go there, like I am like MIA, radio silent, missing in action. No one could find me, and sometimes I got to get pulled out of it.
Know.
No, shut up. I'm gonna beat you in the head.
But we're gonna do this super chat real quick. Then we're gonna go into some real world examples, and then we're gonna go to personal experience. Not I'm gonna do this. No, I did this, and this was the result I got, and that's how we'll wrap up today. But real quick, first, this super chat from oh dear God, send it the avatar.
Yeah, man, $20 $20.
All right.
Wow.
All right. We'll give a note just for that. Shout out to Filipino working at CBS too. Omega Hashira, thanks for joining the chat. Guys, be active in the chat. We're having a great time. Remember, this is it's all great conversation. Very positive spin here, even though it might sound like we're hashing on people. This is not a hash. We're not doing that.
No.
This is very, very good.
I love you, IV Bolt. We're still friends.
Well, we're about to get lit here in a moment because we're about to see some actual ass kickers. So Cappy's. Oh wait, hang on. Cappy's not yours. It's Big Mike's turn. I don't know if Big Mike is the avatar or me. I guess we'll leave that up to interpretation. I put hubby down for a nap skill, y'all. Do you mean skull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd assume that Big Mike. You guys know who Big Mike is.
I think I do from the avatar. So, guys, I'm going to bring up 4 real world examples of some dudes that went into monk mode, some longer than others. They all got results, but I think there is a very clear distinction here that the results were determined by their frame. Now, we're going to go up in frame, in my opinion. So we're going to start with the guy with the weakest frame and move to the guy with the strongest frame. Again, that is my opinion. And after I talk about each one briefly, it's open forum. Like if you want to point at the guy and be like, he's a bundle of sticks, I don't like him, move on to the next guy. It's open forum, guys. Okay, after I do my intro. So let's get started here with 4 real world examples where, if done properly, you can get results. So the first guy here is the one I know the most about because he wrote one of my favorite books. This is F. Scott Fitzgerald. Now, F. Scott Fitzgerald, in my opinion, of these 4, did have the weakest frame, and I'll explain why. So basically, his foray into monk mode all started when he got his heart broken by a girl named Zelda. And she told him, basically, you need to make some money or I'm not going to marry you. So right there, we do show him kind of not having frame, where he's like basically doing what she says, but he says that he loved her. So he decided, okay, then I got to start making some money. So he got a copywriting job at a newspaper, making about $90 a month in, I think it was 1919, which translates to about $19,300 per year in today's money. So well below the poverty line. And so he kept sending in his stories, and he got rejected over 100 times. He sold one short story called Babes in the Wood for about today's money $530. So you can't even pay rent with the one story that he sold. And this went on for so long, and he was so broke that Zelda dumped his ass. She's like, "You're broke. I'm leaving you." And so this sent him into a depression. Probably a good example here, like Nuke would say, the wrong reason to go into monk mode. And so it got to the point, and if you know The Great Gatsby, you're probably starting to see some similarities between F. Scott Fitzgerald's life and the novel The Great Gatsby. But what's interesting is it's not The Great Gatsby that made him famous. Bet you didn't know that. A lot of people didn't know that. Basically, he got so depressed and so concerned with wanting to end himself that he started carrying around a loaded revolver with him at all times so that he could remove himself from the planet on a whim if he so chose to. That's pretty serious. Now, this is where there are results, but I believe that he wasn't able to maintain them because of his weak frame, and he was not his own mental point of origin, clearly. But here's what he did. So he was broke, he was borderline homeless, his girl had dumped him, so he went back to live with mommy and daddy. But while living with mommy and daddy, he basically locked himself in his room, and more importantly, this is interesting, gave up all alcohol. He quit alcohol cold turkey. While he was carrying the revolver around, he was drunk all the time. He was binge drinking because his girl left him. When he went into monk mode, he got rid of the revolver, cold turkey, quit alcohol. He had enough. He's like, fuck this shit. And then he, in isolation, he wrote and polished the novel now known as This Side of Paradise. He submitted it to the publisher, and it sold 40,000 copies. And he became a very rich man. And it got to the point now where the publishers are calling him. That one novel gave him enough wealth so that he could basically start bankrolling his lifestyle. Now, here's where I demonstrate that he didn't have a very strong frame, and so he kind of slipped back into his old ways. Because he made a lot of money, well, guess who hit him up? Zelda. And so he married Zelda, and then what did he and Zelda start doing? They started traveling all over the world, spending all their money on lavish parties and alcohol. And he did write The Great Gatsby in Paris, but believe it or not, The Great Gatsby did not sell as well, and it was not as critically well received as This Side of Paradise. And so ever since This Side of Paradise, his career just went down and down and down and down. And eventually he and his wife died. He right here, he died at 44 because he drank so much. So not a good way to go about it. But look at what happened. So this guy, blue-pilled as all get out, doesn't really have a whole lot of frame or mental point of origin. But look what happened when he quit alcohol and locked himself away for just a little bit. He wrote the novel that made him a very wealthy man. So that's my first example, and the one that I'm going to go into the most detail on. What do you guys think about that? Open forum.
Monk mode after you break up with a chick is not a good idea. It is, or when a chick breaks your heart, is not a good idea. You should not lock yourself away from the world because a chick broke your heart. That is the time to go out and seek other chicks, seek your friends, seek challenges, because it's you and your thoughts, and that's not healthy. You need as much distractions as you can, and a lot of people telling you to, like, telling you, hey, you're gonna be okay, you're gonna live, bro. Like, she broke your heart, great, but you're gonna live. Like, you have to live life now. So find your identity again. So that was his biggest mistake. That.
See, I will give you a little
Agreed.
pushback on that, Nuke. All right, and the only reason why I say that is because, like, the thing, it depends on, like, is this your girlfriend? Like, you guys been dating like a couple weeks or months or whatever, maybe a year or two, or is this your wife? And
you've been, there's nuance.
You see what I'm saying? Like, there's
like 2 weeks of being sad is good for a relationship, and then you slowly pick yourself little piece by piece. You start putting it together. It's not like a switch.
I think there might be some time, like, you might find yourself a month of just like trying to work through what grieving. There's a grieving process. The longer you've been in a relationship, the more you're going to have to grieve, and rushing out too soon without really acknowledging areas that that you need to work on, or that you need to deal with, could backfire on you. It could actually cause more damage in the long run, moving forward, if you don't address these areas. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that there's yes, you don't want to take a long time doing it. I do think the quicker you're able to get back out there and move, work through your issues, the better. But don't make the mistake of going out there too soon, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to try to cling. A lot of guys will try to cling to like the first girl that comes their way. Somebody that's supposed to be a rebound, you end up making a main. And you know what I'm saying? It's like now you got yourself in a fucked up situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Or a double fucked up situation.
Or a real double fucked up situation. That's right.
Well, I'm going to have to agree with Nuke in some way, because personal experience, right? We're talking about personal experience. Let me not get too detailed. So I've been around a while, had a very good long-term relationship in which I was shocked and I got blue pilled. And she was gone, left, right? Had about 3 weeks of absolute shock and depression. But it was because of the circular momentum of thinking, because I'm a problem solver. I didn't understand the problem. As soon as that was passed, I had a list of actions. That's why when you look at my book, it's action is everything a man needs to become. And it's universal. Actions have to be taken. And in that particular case, I immediately started taking action and things got better. And that's social action too, by acquiring 2 younger, hotter, tighter girlfriends immediately and started dating them very publicly. How do you think that turned out?
It's kind of strange being a guy, right? Because we tend to a lot of us, like even me sometimes, when my last girl relationship didn't work out, I got sad and I was just like, you know what, I should take it easy. I'm not gonna go out there. So I give myself a little bit of time, right? Like Glenn says, you need time to mourn, you need time to like process. Humans, we process traumatic stuff really slowly. It isn't until like months later you're just like, man, that really happened, didn't it? I really, so yeah, but at the same time, part of the healing process is to de-pedestalize a woman. And the way you do that is by speaking to other women and sleeping. And you may not even be into it at the moment, right? You might be like, like you might have sex, but you're still thinking about your ex and all that. But then eventually, that's why it's so important to like always, even if you're in a relationship, to always have girls in the wings that are watching you and don't discourage them from flirting with you. Obviously, be respectful of your wife and or girlfriend, right? But don't like scream at women to get away from you or run away from them, right? Have them in your vicinity, because one of the things that's going to help you heal really fast is de-pedestalizing the women. Because man, we can't help it, but sometimes we love our wife, we love our girlfriend, and we just we see her here, and then there's no warning when they leave us, right? It's like you wake up one day and then you go home that night and she's gone, and you're just like,
the sadness is going to be with you. It's going to hurt.
Or in my case, going to work during Sunday.
And you're gonna have to realize that sometimes you think you want time to find answers, or you're gonna want answers to why you're in the situation, why it happened, and you don't think you can move forward until you have those answers.
You don't find them.
You may never get those answers.
Yeah.
Likely you won't.
You most likely will never get those answers that you're really thinking that you need. You just need to prepare for it and just be like, okay, I don't understand, but I understand that I have areas that I could improve in, and I'm going to improve in these areas that I noticed when I look back on it. And don't like what a lot of guys tend to do is when they look back at it, they look back at her and like, they pedestalize her still in the sense of like, she was this, she was that. It's not necessarily the one-itis. It's that they don't understand why she left them.
Yeah.
And by not understanding why she left them, they actually let that get in the way of moving forward. They're like, wait a minute, I don't want to move forward until I figure this out. But you don't know that, and you're not going to figure that out.
You don't need the answer right away. Yeah. You just
don't obsess. Don't obsess over the answer.
Yeah, you'll get your answer but it probably won't be now. It will be like when you're calm, your brain, your ego is, you're no longer ego invested. Like that's another thing. The ego crashes and breaks into little pieces, and you have what's called an ego death, where it's just like this girl that you thought you had on lock, and she was yours, and she did whatever you wanted. She's gone, and you forgot that, hey, you made her part of your identity, and you're screwed up. But that's okay. It happens.
What
And
actually
that's
helped
where when
me
Thor
there-
said, and that's where when Thor said, like, recreating your identity, recreating who you are at that point, that's when you do that. Like once that ego investment is shattered and you're picking up those pieces, you're like, okay, what didn't work for me? What worked for me? All right, now I'm reassembling this. Now I'm going to add this, into it. I got this level, you're adding new tools, you're adding new features. It's like, don't you don't those video games you guys play, like you could equip yourself with all new weapons and stuff like that? You don't have to have the same weapons. See, you just adding new weapons to it. You're just adding new armor.
That's where guys find the red pill, is that they're looking for answers as to why, right? But the thing is that they're looking for answers outside of the girl. They're going to which is good. It's healthy, right? And also you got to realize your brain is the most powerful computer on earth. And I think I forgot this guru from India, right? I don't know if he's a famous guru. He has like a YouTube channel. He's been interviewed by Joe Rogan, all that stuff. Forgot his name, but he said, like, hey, your brain is the most powerful computer that ever existed, right? So when you get your heart broken or something, it's going to go in overdrive. It's going to overclock. And your brain's going to just scenario after scenario of your girl cheating, scenario of your girl with you, scenario of your girl cheating with another dude, scenario of what you should have said. And it's just going to wear you out, right? I last time this happened to me, I would sleep so well at night because my brain was so tired of just running on overdrive. Right. And one of the only ways to get out of that overdrive where your head is just spinning and, it feels like you're an overclocked computer is to hang out with your friends and get out there and live life. Because if not, you're going to be tired all the time. Right. You got to
Luke, you're absolutely right with that brain going into the spinning thing. Because I was doing that with my last one. What actually helped me out, and this is for everybody listening to the show, was my first conversation with Thor in direct messaging, where it's pretty much no matter what happened to the relationship, accept everything as your fault and move on. Everything that went wrong in the relationship, whether it was your fault or not, is your fault. Move on.
Yep, I fucked up. Great. Now move on. And the thing is, over time, that computer in your brain will slow down and you'll be able to grasp like truth from all those things that happened. But it's going to take time. But if you live life and you kind of let your mind be distracted, you will be able to kind of like make sense of it. That's what you want. At the end of the day, make sense. That way next time it won't happen, or at least you have the tools next time for it to prevent a total like breakdown depression where you're useless for like 6-8 a year, or 2 years, or worse yet, become black pill,
All right. So let's look at the next guy here. Now, this next guy is no relation. I know we're both wearing a sweater. I know it's a cheat. You can see the name of the file up there. This is Ernest Hemingway, guys. And for most people, this guy needs no introduction. Basically, I forget how many women this dude had. He went all over the world shooting wild beasts and doing secret missions for I forget which government. I think it was our government, because he volunteered to go kill Nazis as part of a secret. Catch me, AJ. Sounds like you know about him. He was like on a part of a secret mission to do what?
Clandestine operations.
Yes, thank you. This dude, also a writer. Now they're not all going to be artistic, so don't worry, Glenn. We got the last.
I'm very artistic. What are you talking about?
The last dude is
probably the most artistic person you know.
The last dude is the ultimate Chad. But basically, the two biggest ones he wrote, For Whom the Bell Tolls and The Old Man and the Sea, were written in complete isolation. And again, yes, another writer, and maybe there's something to be said about traditional monk mode is good for writers or creative types. That could be something that could be examined. But this was another dude that I think had much more frame than Fitzgerald, because he was basically going all over the world, drinking as much as he wanted, shooting whatever he wanted, banging all the chicks he wanted, and you were never going to tell him otherwise. You were not going to stop him. Dude survived 2 plane crashes and got up and walked away. Not immediately, but you get the gist. This dude was an unstoppable brick wall, and you could not tell him how to live his life. He would tell you to F off, and he would then drink some tequila and then keep doing it anyway. What do you guys think about Hemingway? Do you think he has more frame than Fitzgerald?
The dude's a Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because within all that life that he lived, he may have thought he was in several monk modes, you know. But he looked back at his whole life, and you're just like, wait, my whole life was an adventure. I never shied away from anything. I only shied away for a minute because I needed to write it all down in the form of a book and a story, right? And I think that's kind of like a parallel to what I said, like, hey, your 20s are your monk mode. You may not realize it, but you're going to get rejected so much. You're not going to have the same, not even the same testosterone levels because you're so rejected and looked down by society. But once you hit 30, you're going to be like, oh, this is what real life is for a man. This is being a man. Like, I have responsibility, but I want it. I have women, but I want more women. Like, my testosterone is super high. So yeah, I think it's like more on that line. So yeah, he definitely did it right.
I'd almost want to say he's almost like the true definition of MGTOW. Like, he did his own thing. He banged whoever he wanted, drank whenever he wanted, and he didn't answer anybody. It was his own mental point of origin.
Yeah.
All right, the next guy we got here, Ludwig von Beethoven.
Oh, he was kind of a G.
Yeah. So, long story short, I mean, obviously his music has stood the test of time, but did you know that his most famous pieces that we all know and love were actually composed by him when he was going deaf and when he was completely deaf? So as he started to lose his hearing, he got into more and more isolation. Yet for some weird reason, the more his hearing dropped off, the more isolation he went into, the more badass his music got until the day he died. All his good shit was written while he was deaf towards the end of his life, and he was completely alone.
Yeah, I think Beethoven was pretty badass. He would tell high standing members of society to shut the hell up during his shows, during his performances. And that, like, if you told a noble to shut the hell up, you could die. Like, you can get killed. They would kill you. And he would just randomly tell them, hey, shut up, I'm playing. Right. And that's pretty. So yeah, that dude had frame. He had respect for his art and all that stuff. And I'd say, you know what, I'll give he had a serious, condition, which was being deaf and all that. And sometimes when you have a bad life situation like that, you need like a North Star, something to really guide you to your like last moments of life. So you really need, he just said, hey, I can't do anything else. This is it. So I'm just going to go out with the bang, and I understand that as I think the greatest artists of all time all had very serious mental or health issues, and music, it just made their music better. Look at Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson had severe issues. Peter Pan,
them little kids.
Yeah, them little kids. But his music just got better over time. Amy Winehouse.
Like, all it takes you is burn your hair, have Pepsi or Coke burn your hair, and then ruin your nose and go white.
Yeah. I mean, every like you could any artist, like Amy Winehouse, she had a cocaine addiction, and she was slowly dying, and her music was lit Hall of Fame level. And then you had some of the most amazing actors and artists and songwriters and poets. We are all kind of fucked up in the head. I'm not gonna lie. Like Tupac, yeah. He went to jail. Tupac. Yeah, and then that's when he became better.
Well, he became the character. He became the character from Juice.
Yeah,
and lived it out.
Well, I got an interesting side note on all that stuff. If you guys want to,
it's what's interesting about like if you notice, like all these people that you pointed out, Mike, so far have been in arts. Now Beethoven, he was an alpha. Okay, he made sure he never got married. You know, he courted a lot of women, but he never got locked down. He's like,
Yeah,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. You want to get what? You want to get what?
Sorry,
I can't
I'm
hear
sorry. You gotta go.
you. You gotta go. Exactly. You don't know how to sign language? Oh, we out. No, but the arts are a great thing, and also could be also a very dangerous thing for people in that are very artistic. The reason is because you are able to express or to tell or bring something to life that's very comes from very deep and dark painful areas, but at the same time in doing so you could find yourself stuck in those areas and never able to get out. And that's why you see a lot of these artists that are on dependent on drugs or alcohol are not able to shake it, because they live there. They live in that dark place, because that dark place is what really brings out their creativity and their talent.
Yeah.
But Thor, you were going to say something amazing.
Well, thank you. This is information I just came across in the last week, but I believe it to be true. So if you do some search, I don't have it at my fingertips, but if you do, a study has come out, and I need to find it because we've got to do an episode on it. That here's the thing. It was only 30% of people have an inner monologue in their head that just that have those thoughts that are coherent enough to do that. That kind of indicates that a large majority of people are essentially non-player characters. That's kind of stunning to think about. And when you think on the edge of the bell curve, those are blessings and curses that creatives have. Cappy wrote about the curse of high IQ. Let's take somebody, for instance, like an Elon Musk, who's been described as an asshole, or this, or that. The man has a curse, but it's also a blessing. He doesn't really sleep. That monologue never stops for him. Can you imagine? And the intensity and speed and directions that it's constantly going. I have just a sliver of that, and it pisses me off because I just want to get some rest sometimes. Just some food for thought when it comes to, going into monk mode, sometimes might just be to quiet that voice. And I could fully get behind something like that, because for some people, that's really intense. I do kind of think, and I want to explore this more about people that don't have an inner monologue. I guess this is kind of revealing news. It just hit. And I think it's probably true, because I've met people like that really don't have that way to bounce things off of their own mind. I think you could be trained to develop that skill. I think it's a kind of a skill. It's probably also related to IQ quotient, but I'm not sure about that yet. Have any of you guys ever heard about this? And you mentioned the creatives having kind of that blessing and curse, Glenn. Has any of you guys heard of this recently? This study?
Yes,
It's
I have.
very new. Yeah.
Tim Pool.
But it's shocking to me as someone who has internal monologues all the time. Like, wait, not everyone has that?
No, in fact, it looks like mostly, only about 30% of us do.
And what's funny is, like, and this is just me, the people that do have those internal monologues are able to like reflect better. Like, they're able to actually, because they're critical of themselves, like we're very critical of ourselves. When you have that inner monologue, you're tearing yourself up probably more than what's really going on, but you're giving yourself a better reality check. People that don't tend to always like seem to be the ones that have the hardest time to course correct or face accountability, in the sense of like they played a role when things don't go well. If like their relationship ends, they're the ones that always like, it was her, or it was him, and they don't ever really have that internal conversation with themselves where they could be real. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
AJ knows what I mean. All bald guys with
yeah.
beards know that.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I do it all the time, man.
Yeah.
So we got before we get to the Giga Chad here, we have some honorable mentions that also they weren't in monk mode their entire life. They weren't in total isolation, but they did go into isolation temporarily to accomplish great things. And if you just hear the name, you're going to know based on their name what they accomplished in isolation, because it's the biggest thing associated with them usually. So some runners up: Sir Isaac Newton,
Yeah.
Henry David Thoreau, Vincent van Gogh, but he had some other issues going on. That's common knowledge. J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, written mostly in isolation. Michelangelo, while he was painting the Sistine Chapel, basically, don't look at me, don't talk to me, don't touch me, go away. Leo Tolstoy, Albert Einstein, Charles Darwin, and Dostoevsky are some other honorable mentions. And now we are going to get to the last guy here, and I imagine Nuke might have a thing or two to say about this guy. Miyamoto Musashi.
Whoa, Kimosabi.
You're muted, Nuke.
Didn't he write the Book of Five Rings?
The greatest swordsman that ever lived.
Mm-hmm.
All he cared about, no one could defeat him, right? And he was like,
Go ahead, Nuke.
no one could defeat him. He's the greatest swordsman that ever lived.
Yeah, because he never faced me with a lightsaber.
The dude was so good, he beat his last opponent with an oar from a boat.
I beat my last
Killed
opponent
him.
with a spork.
This guy was, for lack of a better way of saying it, he was alone most of his life, and he actually did go monk mode literally when he was about 7 years old. Basically, in the village where he lived, everyone in the village respected him because he was very skilled and charismatic, at least at that time in his life. But he had an issue with his father. His father was, I don't know if his father was trying to humble him, or maybe if his father was just an asshole. But basically, his father and he did not get along whatsoever, to the point where his father would, publicly berate him and everything. And guys, it got to the point where one night at home, his father tried to kill him. His father threw a knife at him, and he dodged it. Imagine being so pissed off at your own son that you try to kill him, and then imagine how pissed off you get that your son is so good he dodges the knife you throw at him. So his father kicked him out of the house, picked him up and threw him out and banished him. And so then what did he do? He went and lived with monks. And it was there that he learned many life lessons, not only to read and write, but correct me if I'm wrong, Nuke, he did learn some humility, but he, in the end, yes, he is the greatest swordsman the nation of Japan has ever produced. I believe he is undefeated, and he wrote the Book of the Five Rings, Thor.
Yeah. He refused to fight later in life, would not fight because he was over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, very Buddhist type leader. That's really crazy.
Which brings me to my point, where it's a very cultural thing in Japan to practice discipline and have an honor. There's an honor culture there, right? Yeah. And going into long periods of monk mode is still very respected. In maybe that time period, or maybe in that stuff, right? But let's make no mistakes, right? Are there mechanisms by which you can go into monk mode and be good at something? Yes, we have the military, for example. You can go on a complete loser and come out with a lot of skills, a lot of people skills, leadership skills, and all that, right? But I it's hard. Besides the military, I can't find a lot of institutions where you can go in and they take you, break you down, humble you, and then you come out on the other side a better for it, and then you can make your own path, right? Which is basically, that's the path I took. I was like a loser, no skills, went into military, got all these skills, leadership, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Then I came out, I'm like, I'm going to live my own life. And then when anyone asked me, hey, why don't you go back into the nuclear field or this? I'm just like, I'm over it. I'm over it. I want to do what I want to do now. I'm done. So I think it all depends on if you find an institution like he found the monks, and if you're in a culture that really supports men practicing discipline. The hard part about the United States is that discipline is a lost art here. And going into monk mode in the United States in this culture and time period, right, is dangerous, right? Because all the sedations are right there screaming at you. New video games, bad food. You can go into your apartment and you only have to leave to go to work. You can Uber Eats all your food, all your entertainment. You can jerk off to porn. You don't ever need to leave your house, right? And that's very tempting for someone that's been cut off, even if they're trying to have a project or something like that. So let's take into account that there was a culture and they didn't have as much sedations as we do now, which, you know, you overcome that with discipline. But yeah, I think it's a great idea to find an institution that'll take you in, beat the crap out of you, humble you, and then you come out a better person. Then you get to make whatever choice you want. So
this thing that I did in my own life may seem insignificant, but I've started to notice ripples of effect throughout the rest of my life. And actually, guys, what I did was I really like coffee, kind of like the same way I like things like beer, whiskey, and wine. I like the craftsmanship and the discipline that goes into it. Obviously, coffee has benefits. But one of the things I did was I threw out my Keurig machine. Now, don't get me wrong. It's nice to wake up at 6 a.m. to the smell of fresh hot coffee because you set the timer on it and it brews at 6 a.m. Don't get me wrong. That's awesome. Technology is great. But I threw it out, and then I bought the chem pour over, and then I bought a hand grinder, and then I buy whole bean. And so now when I want coffee, I told myself I want to earn my coffee. And so I put the beans in the grinder and I grind it by hand. And then I boil the water and I do the pour over through the Chemex and make fresh coffee. That way it's like, okay, do I really want that coffee? And then when I have it, it feels good because I did it myself. And number 3, obviously, that's just one of the best ways to make coffee anyway.
yeah. Yeah, every band has their own example of this. And honestly, for me, monk mode may work for you as a guy, but for me personally, I get a little weird if I don't go out and have fun, you know, at least once every 2 weeks. I get a little weird. I get a little bitter. I get, you know, I'm not myself. I don't care how many video games I play. Even if I have a girl over, I'm just like, I still need to see my friends. I need, you know, but for some guys, you know, it may make them do better. I think it's not a one size fits all. You do what you got to do. You may need to grieve longer. You may need to grieve less. There are people that after they break up, they're just like, I'm okay. Like it was a mood, like it was a long time coming. There's people that didn't see it coming. They, you know, they need a lot of work, you know, and we're all different.
I think that's like, you know, everything, every situation, it has its there's a lot of nuance there. Right. But at the end of the day, the end goal is to get out of monk mode as soon as you can.
Yes. It's like, you know, therapy. Like, it's meant to end.
It's like you're sitting on the bench. You pulled yourself out of the game and you need to hurry up, rest up, drink some water, you know, stretch a little bit and get your butt back in the game. Right. Like you're not going to win by sitting riding the bench. You need to get back in there, take some reps, take some shots, and score. You know what I'm saying? Like you need to get some W's underneath your belt.
To me, monk mode should be a time of low stress. You know, it just be a time of low stress. A lot of reflecting, a lot of like figuring out what's important to you, the little simpler things in life, right? When I like drop a lot of things at once, because I'm like, I'm just so stressed. I got too much going on. Let me drop a couple of things. Let me take a week off and just, what am I doing? Like, you know, you start noticing like trees and flowers. You start noticing the little things your dog does. You start noticing people. You're just like, man, I forgot what life's about. So you like go back into it, rejuvenated, right? And that's the number one thing. You want to return to life completely rejuvenated, ready to fight again until you're ready to rest again. So yeah.
So before we go around the horn, go ahead. Before we go around the horn with some real things that we have each done, just want to shout out some chatters here and some guests. Look who's in the house. Thor, what can we get?
Let's do it. Let me get there. I didn't recognize it at first.
Don't do anything for that Russian spy.
All right, I'm not gonna.
Let him shut your dirty mouth.
Shame this whore. Shame this horse.
She sent me a new drop too, and I haven't had a chance to put it on.
I know. I haven't added it to mine yet either.
Right.
The new one is good.
The new one is good, man. We gotta get it up.
Yeah.
Well, look, we got plenty of folks in the chat. Chat it up. Fantastic. Elder Santos. It's a familiar name. Who is this? All right. Welcome, man. That one says, every great man had a monk mode time in their lives. You need it. A time of laser-like focus, zero distraction, basically a reset. I would agree with that.
Yes.
I think as I've gotten much older, there's less need for an official monk mode because life will absolutely scream past you at light speed and it'll all be done. So I find it less and less necessary. And back to what Nuke said, it will put you there anyway. There are times in your life you're going to get put there anyway. So make the best of it. This life is very short. There's too much to do. Monk mode should be reserved and focused. And I think it's quite useful for that, quite useful for a rest and recovery period. Those are the things I think it would be useful for. But to live the life of a monk and say you're in monk mode to avoid rejection, I think is a very valid point too. And it's overused in our social group for sure.
Absolutely. So
I
guys,
think just
go ahead,
stay in
Glenn.
monk
Sorry.
mode. You're choosing not to live life. So then you're just choosing not to live life.
Yeah, remember the Dark Knight Rises when Bruce Wayne locked
Yeah.
himself away for 7 years?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then the minute he had a reason to come out, he like fixed his leg and he went, he got beat up, but he, it was very painful for him to get out of monk mode.
But it was like what you're choosing to do is not live. You're choosing to just exist.
Yeah, and Alfred tells him like, this isn't, you're dead. You're not living life. I do anything to get you out of the Batcave and live life.
Yep.
Again, So yeah.
Let's see. I was grabbing one last little picture here, but just don't forget, guys. Just because you are going through a focus period, or even if you are going into monk mode, I know Nuke and Thor may not want to call it that, guys. It doesn't have to be boring.
It's true.
And this goes back to what Glenn was saying. Is there one monk here? No. He has accountability brothers.
Yep.
Look at that. So it's you need to make it, I think, what is going to work for you. I agree with Nuke. Absolute total isolation is bad. Yeah, the whole Bruce Wayne thing, gone for 7 years. Yeah, that's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. Because remember how I forget what's her name, the gal in it felt when he came back. She was pissed.
Yeah.
And the only reason Alfred didn't disown him was because he's just like, I'm here to serve you until you or I die.
Yeah.
I did like how he said, I'll even let you borrow the rose if you like. Just bring it back with full tank cash. But yeah, that's not healthy, guys. And
I find monk mode, Mike, later in life, in fact, probably the last 15 years, I never called it monk mode. I always called it demon mode, but it's very similar, but my output would quadruple. It would double to quadruple. So I couldn't sustain it too long either. So I took kind of a different approach to it. I don't rest and recuperate as much. I got shit to do and no time to do it. And some of that shit's to do with improving me and my mental outlook.
I would say at the very least, read. If you do a monk mode, and read something constructive. Don't be reading comic books or something like that. Read something that's actually going to make you a better person.
What do you mean don't read comic books? I mean, come on. We got manga. We got graphic novels, right, Nuke?
Yep. There's plenty of very masculine.
And what's that other one that Glenn likes? Hentai? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tentacle porn.
I'm only saying something constructive that makes you, if you're gonna go into monk mode and do some reading, I would say something that is constructive.
Yes, I always read Playboy for the articles.
Yes, I mean, I just want to learn more.
Yeah, I'm just very curious.
But I do have the hero arc, which is something that all guys should strive for.
I have one issue. It's was it 1960? I forget what year, but yeah, it's like from the mid 60s.
How sticky are those pages?
It's thick. Look how thick that is.
Was it always that thick?
Do what?
Was it always that thick, or did you do?
This is just the one I found.
Laminated the pages for easy cleanup. Come on now.
Natural glue.
But before we wrap today, guys, let's go around the horn. This is the cleanup. This is right before that, and I want you each to give an example, and in your own way, because obviously Thor and Nuke have very different takes on this, of where a hunker down mode. Maybe we should call it hunker down mode. Maybe that's another way to look
That's
at
a
it.
good way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you went into monk, reset, demon mode, hunker down mode. You went into a hyper focused, semi isolative state with the intent to get a result, and then you came out the other side with that result. I want to know what period of life that was where you did it and the result that you got. And I'll go first since I'm really concise, and Glenn goes on forever. So Glenn. But anyway, the time that was for me was actually right before Glenn and Thor came to Vegas. Long story short, guys, I was working at a pretty prestigious company here in Vegas, and I was let go because I wasn't a good cultural fit. And
Basically, you weren't black enough.
no, I wasn't Marxist enough. Let's use that instead.
Should have been black. You could have just been black. It would have made.
You could have just been black. You would have been fine.
I could have just declared myself non-binary queer, and that probably would have saved my ass too.
But that would have been too believable.
Anyway, so I was not a good cultural fit, and that was right when I met AJ, because I was getting private coaching from John MLD. Shout out to John MLD, by the way, guys.
Shout out to MLD.
Yep, follow him on YouTube. But I was getting private coaching from him, and he basically invited me to the Masculine Empowerment Network as a result of what I was going through, with the explicit purpose of using the Masculine Empowerment Network to assist me. And that's actually where I met AJ. And in the end, that's why I chatted with Thor a bit more. I got Thor's number from CME2, and then that's when he and I started chatting. But then we started talking more as time went on. And then eventually it culminated to me meeting up with Thor and Glenn here in Vegas. And before, like, I don't know if you guys noticed, like, yeah, I showed up in a suit, but I hadn't showered for a little while.
Oh, I noticed.
Yeah, thanks.
I
Yeah,
noticed.
I figured. That's why I
I
was
didn't
glad
say
that,
anything.
that's why I was glad that fragrance guy was there. I borrowed some of it. But basically, I was hunkered down because from a financial standpoint, a shower costs money.
Yep.
I don't know if you're aware of this. And so when it's so tight that you may not make rent the next month, you don't shower unless it's absolutely necessary, because that's a $5 shower here in the desert.
Yeah.
So I was not well, but I was but I was also focusing. And Thor gave me some private personal coaching right then and there in Vegas at the short amount of time that I got to spend with him. And then I applied his techniques to the subsequent job interviews that I got after that, along with AJ's advice, along with all the other dudes' advices. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't going out to eat. I was eating ramen and bologna ketchup sandwiches just to keep going. And I dropped all my plates. One of them dropped me because I lost my job, but hey, that's expected, right? But basically, I went through like a 4-week monk mode, kind of unintentionally because it was thrust upon me.
Yep.
But I came out the other side stronger, and now I have a better job with a better company that, incidentally, guys, on the 13th, so just Wednesday, I hit my 1 year with this company. I've been with this company and in this position for 1 calendar year. And so they obviously don't hate me. So I imagine I'm going to be there for quite some time. And that was a result of a monk mode.
Correct. And now we will work on getting you another stream of income.
Yes, sir. Glenn, what have you done that you can speak to, and what results did it give you?
So I kind of like I seem like really extroverted, but I'm really not. More introverted. When I'm like dealing with things, I tend to do a lot of reflection internally, and just really just, you know, address issues that I know I need to face. Like I'm really good at self-reflecting on areas that I know that I'm struggling in. Like I'll probably notice it before anybody else does. And I will seek help. I will go to the people I know, like, hey, like I've talked to Thor many times regularly. I'm struggling here. I need help here. You know, and like I don't, most guys will not do that. Most guys have a problem with going to other people. I don't have a problem with that. I have no shame in my game. Like I have no pride in that sense. Like I will tell you, like, look, I suck at this. I need help with this. How do I fix this? That's what I do. And I will tune everybody else out. I will shut down and tune all the distractions out. And typically Thor will tell you, I dive into work. I will make myself work 20 hours a day. No problem. And that works what works for me. You know, I just become a workaholic and
So
a gymaholic.
is there a recent example where
I'm still in monk mode. I stay like seriously. No, certain areas of my life I'm in monk mode.
Out.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's certain areas of my life where I feel like I'm in monk mode in certain seasons for certain things. You know, some of them could be professional, some of them could be like relationship wise or friendship wise, and you know, some of them could be even creative wise. Like at this, it just kind of depends on what area in my life I feel like I need to hunker down in.
Okay. AJ, what's a time in your life where you went into monk mode and you got a very specific result out of it, and what was the result?
I'm gonna go a little different on this question here, Mike, if you would allow it.
Of course.
I'm kind of in a mini monk mode myself right now, which I kind of spoke to you about in the private chat, because the whole car being down with the clutch, wait on that. So I've kind of taken a little backdoor step out of dating as much, or trying to get more prospects into my funnel as I wait for parts to come in and work on the car, which I've actually tackled other things that have been wrong with the car, such as I got an oil leak on my cam bridge. I have some bushings coming in for my control arms, so I'll be replacing those as my parts come in. So I'm using that as an opportunity to fix the car. That way I can, in the future, have a lot more dates, and they do call them hot hatches for a reason. I also do plan on taking a 2-month monk mode as far as fitness is concerned come June, July, to get ready to get into the ring at the end of July.
Get into the ring. Are a literal fight?
Yeah, I'm going to do a boxing match or a kickboxing match.
Wow. Okay.
Good
Damn,
reason,
man.
actually.
All right, Nuke. So you have a different perspective. You have a different opinion on monk mode. So I imagine your answer is going to be very unique.
So, like I said, it's nuance, right? Make your list of priorities about what you do. No, okay. Make a list of what you do throughout your life, how much time you dedicate it, and then when event A in your life happens where you can no longer, you have to like focus on something, start taking off things on that priority list from the least important, and as you go up, start taking things away until you find equilibrium again, right? Oh, hey, let's say I got a tough project at work. I'm dropping everything. No. Like the first thing you'll probably want to drop is like, hey, I can't watch movies or Netflix or video games. First thing to go, right? Next thing to go is probably like, hey, I'm going to stop dating for a while because, that's like for fun, most of the time. And then, okay, now that I dropped those two things, I can focus again. I'm still going to the gym. I'm staying out with my friends, right? Oh, like it's a little tougher. Let me drop the friends thing. I'll see them when I see them. I'll call them once in a while. And then now you do it as you got to tailor your life to what you're doing, but not like don't be juvenile and just drop everything because one thing is important, right? One day, like I like my parents were busy, right? But they always made time to do their duties as parents, right? So now that you're young and I'm free and I don't have kids, right? Let me apply that, like, hey, just because I'm busy at work doesn't mean I don't go to the gym, and just because I want to go to the gym doesn't mean I don't have time for friends, right? I have to find an equilibrium because that's the real self-improvement, knowing your time management and knowing that in life you're going to have to prioritize several things at once and not only one. When you're younger, you can do that because you really don't have a lot priority or responsibilities. But when you're older, you can't say no to things, right? So you better start learning how to prioritize several things. You can't go to monk mode that easily when you have kids. You can't go to monk mode that easily when you have employees, right? And you can't go to monk mode that easily when you yourself require networking and meeting people and being social, right? So think about that and realize that. Make sure you know the reason you're going into monk mode. Is it because you're depressed? That's not a good idea. You are the prime demographic of men that off themselves or become sexless or incels or whatever, because instead of turning around and be like, let me socialize more as a skill because I lack in that department, let me turn the other way and do other things, when the real problem is, hey, I have to socialize. I have to meet up with guys that give me a hard time and tell me I'm dumb and I'm weird and have that banter. Let me meet up with a girl. Let me get nervous. Let me get rejected, right? Being rejected is self-improvement, right? And you got to learn to get rejected. You're going to get rejected your whole life. It's normal. And yeah, we don't want to lose any other men that we don't have to. So think very well while you go to monk mode and realize life will hand you plenty of monk modes, and you take advantage of them. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, never do it as an answer to depression. I think that was the most poignant part of what you said there. Thor, sir, did you ever have a monk mode, and what was the result when you came out the other end?
Sure. I wouldn't count any of my demon modes, but I got forced into a monk mode extreme in 1991 when I took 12,000 volts. That took me out of the picture for 27 days in the hospital, 14 days intubated with cast on my hands and multiple skin grafts done. Give you a little bit of time of reflection, of course.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Professional embarrassment that I got myself wrapped up in 12,000 volts as a godlike journeyman, or at least I perceived myself as such. And, at 27, 28 years old, I figured I knew everything. Of course I didn't. And so it actually was personality changing, because I was more than happy to work hard, be there early, be there late, go to the bar, pick fights with drunk people, enjoy the shit out of everything to the extreme. That put the brakes on everything pretty freaking hard. And so that was a pretty long monk mode. And when you're in monk mode that long, due to, your own choices, but you're forced into it because physically you're stuck, and it puts a lot of reflection on you. You don't want to go into monk mode really voluntarily like that again. Of course, it was easy to, hey man, I got burned up. I'm going through all these surgeries, this and that. And it gave me a lot of social excuses not to participate or to withdraw and all of those sort of things. I learned pretty quickly after a few months that was really a bad place to be, because it made everything easy. And when things are too easy, we suffer as individuals. So I had to create a whole new set of habits. Actually, I did a lecture on this. It's called Becoming Durable, because I had to reconfigure everything about the habits that I did in order to avoid something like that in the future. And of course, pain was a huge driver of it. And the thought that I could pull myself out of this was the huge carrot that I wanted to follow. And so that was a big one. I can't describe it in full detail here, but let's say, as bad as it was a good thing. And no one else will ever say that if they saw the pictures or where I went. They will say that's a really bad thing. But no, it was actually a very good thing. It probably ultimately changed the trajectory of my life as a forced monk mode. The voluntary ones, they were to get specific things done. Shout out to Wraith. Holy crap. Another dragon. Look at this, guys. I'll go ahead and put him up there. You guys see that? Wraith, my man. We'll get you back on the dragon ship soon, Wraith. It was always good. But yeah, that was it for me, guys.
Something I forgot to mention, and I'll shut up. The covert contract about monk mode, where a lot of guys think at the other end of monk mode is my success because I was a good boy and I denied myself all of life's pleasures. Realize that, like, that's where the gym style comes from. Or like, hey, they're like, hey, once I get strong enough, I'll be able to get girls. Or once I'm smart enough, or I graduate, or make enough money. You see this with
trad cons.
Oh my gosh, Nick, that's the biggest point. We almost missed it. That's the danger of monk mode is moving the goalpost. Oh, I just have this one more course. I read this one more book.
Exactly. It's a covert contract. Yeah.
No, yeah. No, it really is. That's that. I don't even know why we didn't hit that from the
That was
beginning, because
the biggest
that is like the most profound thing in all this. It's
Thanks,
like,
Duke.
Monk mode part 2 episode.
Yeah.
look at Nuke, all nuclear and shit.
Well, it's like, like imagine a guy gets told by Twitter gurus or alphas or whatever, like, hey, if you do these things at the end, you'll be successful and live my life. And he does them and it doesn't pan out. So he goes back into monk mode. And then you have these arguments where like your 20s should be about having fun. Your 20s should be about hard work. And I'm a millionaire because I denied myself everything in my 20s. And now it's just like, listen, dude, like, first off, what do you want as a guy? You're the number one person in your life. What do you want? And number two, realize that these gurus move the goalposts to where they're at because it's an ego thing for them. Like, be like me, it worked for me, and look how awesome I am, right? No one's telling young men, hey, what do you want? Where are you supposed to be? Where do you want to be, right? So think about that. You're not going to get girls because you go to the gym for 6 months automatically, right? You're going to get girls because you go to the gym and you're charming and you're social and you have a little bit of red pill knowledge and you understand them, right? That's how you get girls. It's multiple things converging into making you a better man. It's not one thing. And realize that there's no guarantees. You could be a millionaire tomorrow. You can still get zero chicks, right? There are no guarantees in life. So yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's go around the horn here. Well, real quick, let's acknowledge our audience here. Thank you very much, Elena. Yes, I worked very hard to accomplish what I accomplished, but I didn't do it alone, kind of like what Glenn was saying. I didn't go through the struggle alone. I had AJ, I had John MLD, I had Glenn, I had Thor, I had Donovan Sharp, and my father helping me at the time. But yes, thank you very much for that. Well, Glenn, do you have a response to Elena's?
I just don't talk to Russian spies, and she thinks I'm in monk mode.
In Soviet Russia, monk mode's you.
Yeah, what Ray said is very important. Monk mode is a choice, incel is a lack of effort. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. We are now going to go around the horn to see what the guys are up to, and we're going to start with Glenn.
Oh,
yes, Bueller.
What I'm up to? Well, let's just see. I'm planning my decorating my new corner office over at Daily Wire. So, like, I'm kind of rearranging some things. I'm getting that all situated. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna have to talk to you, Mike. I'm not sure what I want the feng shui to be quite yet. So I'll hit you up for that.
Some palm trees would be nice.
Some palm trees? Yeah.
Go full tiki.
Tiki.
Yeah.
I might. But no, I'm gonna be doing a reaction video. If you guys, for those that don't know, I was in Nashville this past week with Pearl, as a producer for her, as she was doing the Daily Wire debate with Michael Knowles and the Jason Whitlock conversation this past week, and great time. So I'm going to be actually reviewing both videos and breaking them down and giving you guys my response and my answers to them if I was on, or where I think things were. Where Michael Knowles or Jason Whitlock maybe fell off, but I think the conversation with Pearl and Jason Whitlock was really good. I thought that was a really good conversation. So I'm going to be working on that, and then tomorrow I am going to be up at Thor's house with filming. We're going to be filming some stuff with him and Sterling. It's going to be great, and Cappy, so that might be fun, unless Cappy shoots me by accident. And then I'm going to be doing some reactions, probably with my Russian spy friend and her husband. And yeah, so I'll just be pumping out content. I'm just going to be pumping out some content this week. Stay tuned for that. It's going to be good. Other than that, you guys can find me on my channel. And yeah, I do have something to share with you guys at the end of all this. So before we wrap it up.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Glenn. AJ, the Viking detailer. What you got going on?
Content's been a little slow just because, like I said, I've been working on the car. Been joining Vince on the Masculine Geek channel. Shout out to Vince. Thank you for inviting me. I had just joined Drew Bay's Advanced D&D campaign this past Wednesday, playing as a human barbarian, and I smashed a dwarf skull in with a curb stomp right off the get-go. So
You look like a human barbarian.
I jam. Motorcycle detail video is live on my channel as well. Glenn's supposed to watch that and watch his bike using my techniques. I haven't heard anything from him on that. But yeah, be back to streaming here in the next couple of weeks, solo or with guests, and be guests on other people's channels as well. Once again, shout out to Vince with Masculine Geek.
Nuke. Now, I have a suspicion, Nuke, your version of monk mode is going into the nuclear reactor to acquire more superpowers.
Or fall asleep. I used to fall asleep.
I did see that in Jackson's reactor.
Yeah, I used to fall asleep under the pressurizer. We have a really big pressurizer, AJ, and I used to fall asleep under it because people would take so long to get the paperwork routed to work inside of there, so I would just take naps. Don't tell anyone that.
To it, right?
Is your vessel bigger than my reactor vessel?
Yeah.
Are you guys talking like gay Navy stuff right now?
Yeah, pretty much.
This
It's
is
all
these
gay.
nuclear squids, man.
Yeah.
But Nuke,
No,
what you got going on?
pirates.
But yeah, I walked on top of the reactor. That it's so cool in there. But it's not like what you think with all the like pipes and cool like meters. It's all like covered in insulation, so it's all white, kind of like insulated with was it lead or fiberglass?
It's the lagging's got a little bit of lead in there, but it's mostly fiberglass. And then there's also the high temp silver paint everywhere.
Oh yeah. So
Pretty
basically, it looks like a HVAC room, you know, a main
Yeah,
HVAC.
it's a white room.
Yeah, basically. But when you get to the top of the reactor, it's pretty cool because you're like, wow, inside of here is the power of this. It's so much energy and power, and I'm right on top of it. I'm sitting on top of it, so it's pretty
Freaking
cool.
boiling water into steam at incredible
Yeah.
pressures. Yeah.
The Henry M. Jack had a hot spot on one of its control rod drive mechanisms, and I teabagged it. So that's probably why I don't have kids.
Yeah, I also sat on top of the purifier. I don't think I should have done that. My radiation level went up way too high, too fast, and my thing started beeping like really fast. I'm like, yeah, it's time to get out of the.
But
So yeah, I might have girls for the rest of my life. So I don't know.
Radiation's no joke. I'm gonna stick my head in a reactor come Monday. Glenn's gonna shove my face into the reactor.
yeah, Nuke, don't pull. Oh wait, it's in the past, right? That's your MO.
Yeah.
You're no longer okay. I was about to say, don't pull the Nuke version of a Thor. don't become the Hulk. We got Thor. We don't need a Hulk.
Why not? Why not? I mean, like, I think he would be better off as like you know, who was it? Green Lantern. You know?
It'd be hard to play the piano as Hulk. But anyway, Nuke, what you got going on?
So tomorrow, guys, I got Post Zero. We're gonna talk about monk mode again. So we're going to. It's a very relaxed conversation. It's a couple of the guys from Married Red Pill, like Archwinger, Chesty might join us, and Jack and me and a couple of guys and all that stuff. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, guys, I talk about stuff. I just did a show on overweight women and how it's affecting. That's the biggest thing affecting dating right now is not enough chicks that are participants in the dating. Yeah. And also how to go about dealing with a woman that's getting overweight in a relationship and all that stuff. So yeah. And then I have my Patreon, guys. Sign up to my Patreon. I post articles and stuff. And I am currently working on my book. So that'll be probably towards the end of the year. That'll be done. And time for Christmas, hopefully. So yeah. Thanks, guys.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Can't wait, man.
And last but certainly not least, the captain of the dragon ship himself, RP Thor.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Just remember, a rising tide lifts all ships. You guys are that rising tide. I'm going to post in the chat right now since I am doing a lot of things, but most importantly, the audio book is available, and I just posted it into the chat. Take a look at that. It is actually starting to fly out there, and people are making some great comments. A shout out to everybody that's left a 5-star review, and the comments that they made have been really good and much appreciated. internationally too as well. So thank you for doing that on the book. Put that audiobook on your next Audible read in the wish list, and I think you'll enjoy it quite a bit. Some practical information that should be perennial, not focused just in our sphere. And that's about it. Glenn's going to help me out tomorrow and Monday. I appreciate that, Glenn. Other than that,
And speaking
love
of
the
your
Dragon
book,
Ship. Yep.
yes, sir.
All right,
and-
I got something to share for you guys, for all the audience
Okay.
members and all the panel members.
all right.
If you want to be part of a filmmaking process, I have the opportunity for you. One of my projects is on its, we're at the final stages of getting it finally released in theaters, but we got to raise some funds for the music licensing. And so we're trying to raise the last $7,500. You guys, anybody that contributes over $500 or more is going to be listed as a producer on the film in the credits. So you guys will get producer credits on IMDb, and you'll get to be part of the process. And a huge thank you from me and the rest of the crew and the talent that was on this film. Let me show you guys what I'm talking about. All right.
Okay. Let's see it.
Here we go. So this film right here, let's see this handsome devil right here holding the gun. Yeah, that's me. We shot this. It's called Token Choke Dispensary. We're trying to get to $7 grand now. That was 7,500. And let me show you guys this amazing trailer. 1 second. Let me do this. I have it here. I should have had it loaded up, but I didn't. Oh, yeah, that's from. Okay, here we go.
That's me. Yep. Hi. Most of high school.
Oh, Molly the weirdo.
It's Moby.
Why don't you assholes leave him alone?
Oh, it isn't Ronnie.
My enemy, Connor Smith.
The school pothead.
Hi, Ronnie.
Hey, Greenleaf.
Jane Greenleaf, the hottest girl in school.
Never talk to my girl again, or next time, it's gonna be a lot worse.
If you don't untie me soon, I'm not standing up for you anymore.
But you charge me.
We became business partners pretty young.
I need money to buy weed, okay?
Now,
Good morning, Ronnie.
that's me. Why not? Owner of Toke and Choke Dispensary. We're big in LA. There's big money in this game. Jane has blossomed into an edible flower arrangement. The DEA can take everything I have, but this fucker has another thing coming.
Christy Blinkley here at the scene of the crime talking to Officer Smith.
DEA agent.
That devil's handsome.
She was sleeping with both of us.
In what universe?
Fuck me with that lift. You're gonna help me take down your boyfriend.
Over a dozen raids in the last week.
She was working with the feds, had been for a while. And now, Connor and those guys were in a shitstorm.
Are these innocent victims or are they criminals?
The DEA started targeting dispensaries for raids.
Back the fuck up. Get your hands up. Back.
What the hell is this fucking raid piehead?
Jesus.
Never know who to trust these days. Connor thinks he's getting Jane and taking down my business. You'll have to kill me first.
So yeah, thank you guys. If you guys want to be part of that project and helping us get this independent film released finally, please click the link. I threw it in the chat, I believe. No, I threw the wrong link in the chat. My bad. Let me go to it, and then now I'll put the right link in the chat. Here you guys go. Here's the right link. If you guys want to donate, please feel free to donate and help us get this film off the ground and finally out there so everybody can see. It's a great film. It's actually, so funny thing is, this is one of my first films that I was ever the lead in the film. So it's pretty big and important for me. So would love for you guys to help contribute and be part of it. So there's the link. It's in the chat. Please feel free to contribute. And yeah.
Awesome.
Would you say, Thor, If
I
we
don't know,
did,
that was
Glenn
just
will
for
pay
you.
us. Yes, I would have to pay.
No, it's all good. Yeah, and it's just the music licensing's holding you guys up. I mean, it's in the can, right?
Yeah, everything's in the can. We got it. Just we got to get the licensing for some of the songs. So it's that last hurdle, that last leg.
Yeah, that you got to add a little take times with what the writer's strike and all that stuff, kind of delaying everything. And
Yeah, I mean, so mind you, we originally shot this during COVID or right before COVID lockdown, and then we had some as an independent film, like it's always struggle. You don't have a big studio to do everything, so you're doing everything. I did a lot of the editing the first round, and then we had to hire some other editors to do more in-depth stuff. And so there's a lot of work. It took a lot of work to get it done. But it is a really good project. Like it's a great comedy drama. It has a little bit of red pill in there. You see me smack a couple, people around,
Hopefully no nude scenes. No nude scenes, right?
Well, I mean, there's one, but you don't see me. You don't see me. You see her. You just see her. You see the biddies. You see the biddies. You don't see me.
The way it should be.
Exactly. And we rehearsed that scene over and over and over again. I just want to make sure I was perfect at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, and on that note, guys, Thor banging his hammer. We're going to play an ad here for Thor's book. Get his book, guys. A Dominant Masculine Presence. Get the audiobook narrated by the author, R.P. Thor. And I'm going to take us out, guys. It's been real.
Masculinity is in crisis. What are we to do? We need to acquire a dominant masculine presence. Now available on Amazon. Masculinity is in crisis. Men's masculine behaviors and traits have been suppressed by popular culture. Why has it become so popular to shame, guilt, insult, masculinity, and masculine behaviors? After 50 to 70 years of this has resulted in a very large subset of men who have become weak, useless, and crisis. Pathetic state for boys and men that leads to depression and violent despair. A dominant masculine presence addresses this very dilemma for the individual man, and it firmly establishes why this is what is desperately needed by the individual man today. In this book, clearly defined masculine traits and behaviors and the emotional durability provided by traditional masculinity are presented as a guide to what every man should embed into his identity. Putting these principles and behaviors into practice will motivate and direct your path step to step to create for yourself an authentic, dominant masculine presence.